he stays on, he works for us.
Yeah, I don't think you can speak for Coach Dickerson. I think Coach
I
Dickerson has to make
said-
that decision.
But, you know, I've come here speaking for him and some other folks I know, but this council will make that decision. And
So when do we start planning for it, Mayor? That's my point. If he's gonna retire, well, I'm sorry, I said, if his contract is up in June, when do we start discussing the options?
his contract is up last June.
That's right, but we discussed also the fact that he would stay on. I'm not so sure if that's his wishes. We don't know, but at least we should have a plan as to how we're gonna move forward. And I don't know if the plan should be to continue to hire, contract out the job for Parks and Recs or bring it in-house. Is that gonna be, so at some point we should have some dialogue about what's in the best interest of the city, how are we gonna do that?
And I'm sure we can do that at some point in time. We can take that up and we'll get into the council meeting tonight. We won't make a recommendation, sir.
One quick question.
Yes, sir.
Coach Dixon, I believe the two baseball tournaments we have out there, I know very well, one of them had 7 or 8 or 9 teams, and the other one had 16 or 17. You got to put them on, I've known for years. And of course, I know a lot of these people for years, and they're always asking questions about underuse. Did we have some tournaments scheduled there that were one-day tournaments that ended up getting canceled because enough teams did not do it? Did we
That
have?
was in the fall. We had those tournaments canceled in the fall. This spring, we haven't had any tournaments because Dixiewood decided to play on Saturdays, which is, put a cramp on our tournament scheduling. And scheduled tournaments that we had already were already in the books, so we had to play those games. And we talked to Dixie. But since then, we haven't had an opportunity to play any tournaments until July. When July, the state tournament comes, big tournament, it's July 18th, it'll be the second biggest tournament we have.
And the fall tournaments were canceled because people put them on, but they canceled them because of lack of interest. They didn't have enough teams.
Well, I can't speak for why. I can't speak for why they canceled them.
That's what I'm saying. They canceled it because they didn't have enough teams.
I can't say that. I don't know why.
Then item 5, get a structural assessment quote for the renovation of the teacher's home at the sports complex. I think MLK Junior Motor Coach from Center Council.
Yes, again, going back to kind of the overall concept of what we were gonna do on the MLK side in terms of renovations and construction. Certainly the teachers' home was one of the projects that was involved in the overall project. And I know certainly we've had some in-kind work on, I think Mr. Greer and the city workers who started some work there, but from my understanding, that may be an issue that we have to look at now. But I have spoken with a architect who said he would be willing to do, because basically the structure of that building, it needs to be structurally secured even before we, before we continue with the outside integrity of it. The building is not structurally sound as it is right now. The floors it's just not safe. I wouldn't recommend hosting anything in that building as it is right now. So we have an architect that has agreed to do some in-kind structural assessment for us, in-kind for free, and he can do it for the city or for the museum, whoever he needs to do it for, and therefore help us to devise a plan of how do we shore that building up from a structural standpoint. And then also, if there's any federal dollars we can continue to look at for grants, or how do we continue to rehab that building. But right now, it's not structurally sound. So certainly wants to make sure if we got to get permission from the city, or what's the proper protocol to give permission for someone else to do the structural assessment.
Okay, let me ask this question, and I've been doing this for a while, but normally a structural assessment is done on a commercial building. On a home, it's because we have a building department that have certified people in it that can, you certify them.
Yes.
Okay. That can look at that and tell us exactly whether it's safe or not, what needs to be done, whatever. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
But it hasn't been done. So, we have someone that's agreed to do it, so, I mean, however it gets done.
Contrary to that, I have accessibility.
Okay,
Now, I'm not a certified structural engineer. And when you mentioned, having meetings or something, what did you say?
well, for whatever purpose that they're gonna have in that particular building, if there's gonna be anything that you're gonna have in excess of 10 people in that building right now, I wouldn't recommend 10 people go in that building as it is right now. With the way the building, the way the floor joists are right now, I wouldn't feel comfortable having more than 10 people in there for anything, if it was a tour or anything, so.
There's no reason we couldn't, I mean, that we wouldn't welcome an assessment if somebody would do it for research. But when you change the building is a residential building, it's not an assembly building.
I understand that.
And when you have a structural engineer direct you to look at that building and you talk about assembly, then that changes the building completely. And it goes to a different class building, which naturally will have to have a lot of work. Matter of fact, I don't think you could feasibly make an assembly building out of that.
Well, that's not the goal.
Carry it down.
That's not, I'm not, and I hope I didn't imply that we were trying to make anything in assembly. My goal is to try to make sure that it's safe, period. So I don't know.
I would
that-
not have people over there working on it if I didn't think it was safe, but that may not be a bad idea, and I certainly would welcome that as far as the public works and us working on it. That would be a welcome thing.
Okay, can we move on to the next item? We have 2 minutes before mandates council meeting starts. Status report on the football soccer field. Councilman Wood.
I think we've kind of covered that for the most part, and that's one of the things that I will ask that we have a call meeting or a work session on to discuss the details.
Then item 7, research splash pad cost of installation and operation. Councilman Wood.
Right, now, we haven't discussed that, of course, Coach Dixon, if you don't mind, Coach Dixon and I had a chance to go up to Tuscaloosa to look at one of the cities that's operating a splash pad, and I understand there are other cities that have splash pads that are smaller than we are, but I certainly wanted to get permission or seek permission to look at the cost and the feasibility of doing a splash pad in the area where the fence has been taken down on what we call the upper field by the MLK building. I've had some conversation with Tex about that initially when Mr. Cook made his presentation. Of course, one of the things we talked about is certainly making sure you have adequate water pressure there. But again, we haven't gotten any further in terms of looking at any conclusive numbers as to what the true cost will be of splash pad. And of
What
course-
did you find when you went to Tuscaloosa? What, did they give you any general idea of what the splash pad there cost?
It's hard to say because they had a facility that had locker rooms and concession stand bathrooms and everything. And what they did is they just put a splash pad where the old swimming pool was. So it's a little different than what we were planning to do. It was,
They give you a number of any kind?
it gave me a cost, I mean, a price of about $800,000 for what they did.
How much?
800.
But the splash pad that they have will probably be maybe 3 to 4 times the size of what we're looking to do here. Of course, we're talking about the city of Tuscaloosa, but again, that splash pad was just something that I had saw before, and I wanted Coach Dixon to take a look at it and see the operations of it. But because that's the number that they gave, that necessarily mean that's what it will cost for us to build the type of.
We're going to have to move on into the council meeting. We will, I'd like